Okay, but can we talk about the insane entitlement of Zionists? So this letter was the letter I referenced in my video earlier today that the Biden administration sent. You can't really see it that well unless you really zoom in. You can find it on Twitter. Basically threatening the Israeli regime that if they do not stop blocking aid from coming in and start following some humanitarian law, that they're going to put a weapons embargo on them. But as I said in the other video, no, they're not. This is all just posturing for the election. They've got no intention of following through with it. But that, of course, is not stopping Zionists from melting down and crying over it. Like, if you go on Twitter to find this letter, it has been reposted so many times by Zionists being like, how dare the Americans and the administration even bring up an arms embargo? They owe us that money. You're trying to make Israel unsafe. Which I also find hilarious because you already have all the protection in the fucking world. Not only do they have Iron Dome, which we pay for, they also have David's Sling or whatever the fuck it's called, which we also help pay for. And now we're sending them this other incredibly expensive defense system called THAAD that in order to operate needs American troops on the ground in the Israeli regime. So they have three. And this is all to protect them, even though they're the aggressors in all of these circumstances. But this is all to protect them. So I want to know, to the Americans in the military, I want to know, are you excited to go possibly die for the Israeli regime while protecting them? Because again, they need troops on the ground for this system. And by the way, what happened to Biden saying there would be no troops on the ground? What happened to that? Oh, they lied, of course. So now we have American troops that are going to be risking their lives for the Israeli regime's safety and a bunch of systems that we are paying for so that they can still whine all over Twitter because they're mad that the Biden administration sent a fucking letter that they're so not going to enforce or do, threatening to put an arms embargo on them if they don't stop committing war crimes. And it's not just the aid. There have been multiple reports that have come out recently showing that, we know every accusation is a confession. So like using Palestinians as human shields. They do that regularly. Or targeting children. There was a New York Times article. We're going to go through the entire article tomorrow on YouTube Live, and I'm going to read the entire thing of all these American doctors, okay, dozens of American doctors discussing what they saw, okay, sniper shots to children's heads in Gaza, war crimes up the wazoo. And what happened was yesterday is that a bunch of Zionists got online and tried to discredit it. People like Bill fucking Ackman getting online being like, this is fake. The New York Times came out with a statement today saying, actually, it's not. We stand by our reporting. And by the way, the New York Times is fucking Zionist anyway. So the fact that they came out with that report actually says a lot. So just so we're all clear here, the Biden administration is not going to put an arms embargo on them, even though they absolutely should. The fact that they're acknowledging in this letter some of the war crimes that the Israeli regime has done, and the fact that they have been withholding aid that we're also paying for, from getting into the strip, should not have come with a threat. It should have come with action. Because you notice when it came to giving them THAAD, that new missile defense system, immediate action. But when it comes to following through with some action on this rogue regime, it's just endless threats that never come to pass, Like, oh, well, if you guys don't stop committing war crimes, we're gonna give you 30 days. And if you don't listen then, we'll revisit it and maybe we'll talk about, I don't know, see you later. These are toothless threats that should have already been implemented. Like, these should have already been carried out. And they're only doing it because they know that people see every day what's happening and they are afraid of how it's going to affect them during the election. The fact that this many war crimes has been documented on what has been happening to the Palestinians day in and day out, and you motherfuckers are not only just sending them empty threats to try to save your own political ass, but the fact that you're sending THAAD and American troops to give more shit to them is fucking believable. I want my fucking taxes back. Where's the defense system for the Palestinians, okay? Because they're the ones that are getting bombarded. They're the ones that are getting aid blocked. They're the ones that are getting incinerated and caught on fire. They're the ones that don't have water. They're the ones that are being used as human shields to go into booby-trapped buildings because those cowards over in the IOF won't. They're the biggest cowards on the planet, which is the reason why they use Palestinians, sometimes children, to go into the buildings to look for booby traps, because the only thing thing they can do is use them as human shields or drop bombs on them because they cannot fight them in combat. And that is the other reason, not to get off on another tangent here, is to why the American troops are really going there. Because they know that the Israelis are not ready for this smoke. The IOF is full of a bunch of clowns that don't even know how to use any of the weapons that they're carrying and couldn't fight one of the resistance militants if their lives depended on it. That's why they're sending the Americans. Defund them now, not later, now. An arms embargo now.